It's I, Devious Dave Rose, and let's just get on into this. Gonna play some Kerbals. How about that? Also, thank you for the 5 joining us that are watching. We have Latino Heat in the chat. Buenas tardes, señor. But unfortunately, while I was starting the show, I got a call from the diner that said that there was a fresh delivery of beef. So I don't know what's going to happen if I'm going to have to be called away to that. But I've been wanting to play some Kerbals for a while. And that's just how it's going to go for now. But you never know what direction the night will go. But that channel that I mentioned on my last diner, I can't remember the full name, Community something, blah, blah, blah. Hilarious shit. The AI is just, it's horrifying. It's crazy. It's just like, it can analyze all these things and produce this, nuts. And some drama around that. But right now, we'd be playing some games. Welcome to the 6, if I didn't say that earlier. But let's get this game going. I feel, despite the fact that I've been really wanting to replicate what Elon Musk has been doing. In fact, they launched recently with the spaceship on top. That's the one with the fins. And then the heavy, whatever it's called, booster that can land back on Earth and all that sort of shit. So the one with the fins, spaceship, achieved orbit. Then it decelerated, did its burn off when it comes to speed through the atmosphere, and then not only did the proper belly flop that it's supposed to be able to accomplish to slow it down itself down fast enough and enough that it can just land on its tail. And in fact, it did that, and it landed on its tail in the middle of the Indian Ocean, but it basically was able to accomplish exactly what they need to be able to do to then have this stuff like reusable. It's fucking mind-blowing. And I love this shit. It's nerd shit. If you don't like nerd shit, there's no reason to be watching. But if you like to suffer, maybe there is. I've met quite a few masochists in the day. But here we go. We need to transition here. I had it up on my screen, but it didn't transition, but there we go. Shout out to the 7. So let's go to the game here. We're going to start game. And I guess we'll resume save. Community Kerbals. Hope the volume levels look okay. They seem to be okay for me. But yeah, we're going to the space plane hangar because what we're going to try to do is try to replicate the Dark Star plane that you see in Maverick, Top Gun Maverick. There's a lot of theories about that stuff. It seems more probable, and I've seen the patents for this stuff, where a craft like that would actually be dropped from a mother craft and then utilize its rocket engines to get into orbit. But you've got the SR-71, for example, which started as the Archangel project and eventually became the Oxcart project, where, again, they needed something that could go faster than anything else at that time. This was in the 50s, using 1940s technology, right? And they were able to accomplish something that went at least Mach 3, but that's the official stuff. I've researched it. Some pilots have admitted that it was able to go at least 4.5, Mach 4.5, but the thing was like shaking apart. So that's what we're going to accomplish here. We're going to be making some sort of hypersonic plane that will probably get us into orbit, and we'll see if there are casualties, because this is Kerbals. But let's see. As always, a good craft requires a good name. I don't know if I can accomplish that, but we're gonna give it a shot. We're also gonna keep all those haters and spectators guessing as to whether or not there will be any interjected drama, and what will happen next. You never know. Um, as we know, I have a huge tank, so I can go for, well, hours. We know that. But either way, we're gonna have some fun here. I certainly would. But to be honest, like, I'm having fun, and if you guys join along for the ride, great. But your entertainment or lack thereof really is not my responsibility. See, that's more of a you problem than me, especially to the haters, obviously. Because how could you watch something you don't like? But anyway, back to the game. I guess let's call it Bark Star. How about that? Bark. No, what happened there? Hello. Bark. Is it not working? Barkstar. In memory of Joe Blonin, the community pit bull. There you go, Blonin. You live in infamy now. So, I guess we'll give it... because we've got this one as well. This cockpit. I think we're gonna have to go with that one. Looks better anyways. Fuel tank. Fuel. Where's the one with the oxidizer? Rocket fuel. There we go. So we're going to need a combination of both. Depends what we want to accomplish, really. Do we want to push it to the limit? Push it to the limit. Or do we want to get into space? Actually, you know what? Let's just do a plane that can go hypersonic. Okay, so now OBS is telling me it's reconnected. I don't know how long it's been out for. Looks like things are finally starting to show up. But I guess we'll see what happens. There we go. The YouTube one is gone. Let's hear it. There we go. Looks like things. Yeah. Bang. Great stuff. Love it. Internet. Awesome. But yes, you never know if there might be some drama at some point, because things were said, and I don't think they should have been, really, but because I'm not doing anything. But there we go. I think I've been very nice. I've been quite delightful. Well, I guess it kind of looks like the craft from... I'll try to make it look like the craft from Maverick. But great movie. I've watched that movie, I think, at least a dozen times or more. As good as the first one is, I think the second one's better. And, it's just fucking awesome. So I can, and have, watched it multiple times over and over again. All right, so we need, where's the aerospace shit? Aerodynamics. There we go. Some scoops. May move them down. Integrate them into the fuselage. And give it a smaller profile. But what we want and what we need are the engines. The rapiers. These are the ones that you can turn off and they become rocket engines. They've got, I believe, a better thrust than the other ones. Again, it's not going to be a rocket engine. We're not adding any rocket fuel to this to allow it to do that. Because if you were, you could partition the fuel and have a segment that has an oxidizer as well as the fuel, because you need both of them to create rocket, exhaust. And you could use it to get into space, but then you start to have to consider, okay, well, I need fuel, enough fuel of this stuff to slow us down, so we can get back into the atmosphere, because jet engine fuel only works when there's oxygen. So these engines won't work, and they'd be stranded there. So you've got to consider that. And again, all I'm trying to do is try to go as quick as possible, because that's really what the Aurora Dark Star project and all those names that are used for basically the same thing is the desire to have a high-speed platform that can do multiple things. It can spy, like the SR-71. It can conduct experiments. It can do some sort of attack, depending on how they want to use it. So, regardless, we're just going to try this as a atmospheric engine. But again, this is, you can see that you've got the different thrusts here, and its tolerances and so forth, and then you can compare it to this one here, which is obviously a lot more. So even if you're not utilizing this engine for its ability to create or utilize rocket fuel to boost itself into orbit, it's still basically a badass engine. Now the issue is to put these in here. Actually, here's the thing though. This is the cool thing about this game. Tell me if I'm coming in low. I was listening to the stream earlier. It didn't sound like I was... I don't know. I'm also tired, so maybe that's it. There... Hold on. Where's the... There we go. The move tool. So we go like that, right? Cool. And then we put them in like that. That looks nice. Yeah, I'll go with that. I'll go with that. And we got room for wings and such. That's cool. Now it's for the wings. Structural. I'll just use that. this might work. Is this not logging on? Shout out to the 7 viewing. Hope you're enjoying this or bored out of your fucking mind. I'm stoned right now, so I'm good. Oh, and yeah, you never know where this show will go. That's a better, yeah, that's more representative of the Dark Star project, but we're gonna have to remove that. Yeah, I think we can do that. All right, so where's the rectangular one? There we go. Okay. There you go, but we're gonna add, still gonna add a, see, I don't know. There are smaller ones that we could use. We could also move them in. In fact, you know what? That's probably the better idea. I used to be, look, I love this game. I've played it since close to its inception. And clipping parts, I kind of even seen as cheating, but it just makes it look so cool. And really, the game doesn't care. The game mathematics don't care. It'll just treat it as a certain type of unit, and there'll be certain type of attributes to it, but it just doesn't care. It doesn't care as much as I do. So that's on me. So in that case, I think I will move this shit in and see how it fares. Come on. Problem is the fucking drag. I don't know if I can get something to cover that. Suggestions are accepted in the chat. Could add other engines up here, but that does provide a good plane for that. The issue is this area is unutilized where it could be used to build lift, and a slight amount, like where are they? It's one of these ones. Yeah, like something like that. Still allows for it to provide a slight amount of lift, but reduces drag, or it doesn't create as much drag. That's the best way to describe it. Yeah, I love talking about this shit. I don't give a fuck what anybody fucking says. And hey, if you don't like nerd shit, don't tune in. You know, that's what we do here. Well, some of the stuff. I do provide a great drama meal, yes. Food and a show. My issue is the shape, and I'm using stock. In the past, even for this game, I've downloaded a bunch of mods, but at one point I was like, no, fuck it. I want to do the show, or I want to play the game. So I'm getting distracted. I want to play the game basically stock. See how much I can force it to do what I need it to do, rather than to get a mod that will make it easier. So, I like a challenge. Shout out to Drama Community Rewind Podcast. That was the name that I was forgetting in the chat. Great stuff. It says, hey, Dave, I forgot to mention the reason why the AI is unable to analyze each episode is because the file size has to be under 200 megabytes. I'm glad you and others enjoy this. It's something different and unique. It's actually quite refreshing, to be quite honest. It's also easy. Well, let's say this: it's not difficult. You have the tools necessary to be able to um, accomplish what you've done, and you did. And nobody could deny that they weren't entertaining. Um, and obviously, there were slip ups from the AI and all that sort of thing. In fact, taking my statements and attributing them to Scott, or vice versa. I thought that was hilarious. People with memory can remember these sorts of things, but just to see AI with its limitations, just like it still can't fucking photograph fingers and shit or arms. Um, in fact, that should happen actually with the guy they're trying to install as the new prime minister here in Canada. That's the exact thing. That's exactly what's going on. But yeah, he posted this photo of himself being in a big crowd, like, oh, like we want you to be prime minister, and it turns out most of the crowd was all AI, and we've seen that with fucking American politics too. But regardless, shout out to the Ghost from the Coast in the chat. Regardless, I think that it's refreshing. It's a new take. Of course, it's taken from old stuff, but there are a lot of people. There's too many people, in fact, in my opinion, that look back at that and be like, "That's the best we ever got. That was the best that I was enjoying myself on YouTube." First of all, that's the entitlement that I've tried to address when it comes to some people. Is this: if you want to be that change, if you want to see what you had before, do it on your own, sort of thing. It's also a sense of entitlement and all that sort of thing. But again, we've sort of experienced that when it comes to people and their desire for content. All right, let's continue. I want to continue with what may have problems. I'm gonna readjust those engines. I don't like them. The center of gravity is too high. Ghost from Ghost says, "Don't talk about AI or Taz will come in and act like a functioning homo." But again, in regards to drama and stuff, I've been really just keeping to my own. There really hasn't been much drama. A few things, and I've covered them, but it's not like it's pressing, and it's certainly not the way it used to be. It's funny that a lot of people either have that entitlement or they... Oops, hold on. Or actually, the entitlement. What was I gonna say? I don't know. Yeah, it's usually entitlement. I have been smoking the cannabis, so you're gonna have to excuse me. But regardless, there we go. That's not nice. If I do that, it's over. I don't like that. Unlock the toggle. It should be okay. There we go. All right. But again, for real talk. Fact is, I find it funny about this whole AI stuff, where it will spit out this stuff, and I don't think it's biased towards me, but some people do, and I think it's comical to I'm gonna put this to humor these ideas, but also to see the same sort of patterns. I'll call you DCRP from now. It's just, the whole title is very long, but DCRP, again, highlighted this same level of paranoia that has existed in the past, although we are told things have changed and all that. So again, to be honest, I'm doing my own thing. I'm having fun. It's been a while since I played Kerbal, and I love this shit. I love the nerd shit. But like, do I really need to be dragged in because that's my nature. I'm ready to go anytime. So, do we really need to do this again? I know other people would like it, but you know what? Maybe I'm gonna have to, put this behind a paywall or something. I don't know. But let's just be honest. Let's try to reduce this profile here. Zoom in and bring the engine out. Yes. Not sure I like that. Yeah, let's go with the primitive look, I guess. Oops. See, here's the. I love this game. I'm sure that many people are just tuning in because they really have nothing to do on a fucking Sunday afternoon at practically 4 p.m. Eastern time. But I do appreciate those that are here to enjoy themselves. For the haters, that's on you, dude. Um, I can't make it more entertaining because this is just the game. It's just a lot of fucking. And again, it's one of those games that some people like. What was it? Roller Coaster Tycoon. Play that shit for hours. I remember in the '90s, people loved Warcraft. Star. Was it? Starcon? Starcom. But yeah, but these are games you play for hours and stuff, and you could play solo. You could play with people. You know, regardless, appreciate those that are here, willingly. No, nobody holding you hostage and all that. It's been rumored that I've done so with my viewers. I love the concept. That looks a little better. And not too far off from what they have as, potential future craft. The other issue is that there are craft that I could just choose that can probably accomplish what I'm aiming for. If I was to, okay, so we're going to save this one, Barkstar, in memory of of Blonin, who's been apparently called as the one of the many people. Again, we're seeing the same paranoia again. I'm not doing this. You can see this if you look at this, but from Drama Community Rewind podcast, you can see this sort of idea as like it's got to be this person, it's got to be that person, and yeah. So, but the planes, like, oh, I made a ghost. There's the skimmer, space plane 1. I made a lot of stuff in this. What's the stock stuff? Okay, so like some of this stuff like actually does work really well. So I think it's the Osprey, Raven Spear, and just a regular jet. I think it's this one. Let's just load it to see it. Yeah, so you got something like this, and it's going to go fairly fast. I don't know. These are stock. I'd like to see some interaction even from the haters who are clearly watching. We got 7. You know, that's a record. Not really for Kerbals, but I could. How about this? I'll appreciate your anonymity, and I'll give you a poll. Um, so let's do this. Start a poll, and question will be. Um, DDR original or stock? So it'll be DDR, and then the next one will be stock. So now you can have your anonymity, and you can decide whether or not you want to see me fail potentially in the stock, ones that are made for novices, or if you want to see me fail with whatever it is that I design. But I'll give you that option there. We'll see how that comes out. Right now we have 3 votes, I should say. 67% leading, so that's 2. Voting for my mal-engineered craft, and then we have 1 saying just use stock. We'll leave that open for a few minutes here, but I definitely have a soundtrack for when we decide to fly and see whether or not we survive. But the intention is, and this is the intention regardless of the outcome, the intention is we're trying to get enough velocity to go suborbital, that our engines are going to cut out due to lack of air, and then eventually we'll come back into, again, we're not trying to shoot ourselves out there. Again, that requires the need to calculate, okay, how much fuel am I going to need to actually get back into not just regular orbit, but suborbit. And there's thrusters and all that sort of thing, equipment. No, this is, if you end up gaining that speed, you'll go suborbital, you'll coast, and then eventually you'll get back into the atmosphere and be able to reignite those engines due to the oxygen available, and then be able to navigate wherever you want. So planes are fairly good in that sense. What do we got here? So 4 votes. So 3 people voting for my shitty-ass engineering system, and 1 for stock. So we'll again, we got 5 people watching, so I guess we'll end it there. We got to decide something. So we'll end the poll. There we go. So we're going to see my shitty inventions. And so we're going to go back to our Bark Star, because it is, again, after all, where's my Bark Star? An ode to Blonin. But oh, yeah, that's right. They've separated. See, it's kind of cool. It used to be, and again, I've played so many versions, but it used to be where it was all, mixed up. But they have sort of separated, the game and the specific designs with the stock ones and ones that you can get from Steam. So, pretty cool stuff. All right. Skibbity bop doo doo. Let me actually see. How did I design this one? Let's see. No, I really built this one up. I think I do like my old design. Single stage. What did I name this? This one was really, oof. That's right. We got all those Raptor engines. There's actual rocket fuel here. This is actually meant to be a space plane. Shout out to Kokomo Corner. Says, afternoon, Dave. Hope you have a great day. Thank you very much. Hope you are enjoying yourself as well. We're doing nerd shit here, talking science, trying to figure out if we can get into orbit or if we're gonna burn up in a fiery mess. Um, so, again, I am trying to choose life, but again, um, I've got a lot of designs that could utilize a lot of work. So, but let's see, let's see what happens. So we got a space plane here. What did I add? Okay, so got monopropellant for slight movements, solar panels. Three engines is actually good. That's the thing, though, in this game, just to let you know. And yes, I'm building up the suspense as to what Dave craft I'm going to use. And some of these craft are kind of crazy, but utilizing three engines minimizes the risk that you get when you only use two engines, because when you're flying in this game, sometimes you have less air going into one engine than the other. It causes the entire craft to spin, depending on how quick or how fast you're going, your velocity. It could be so much of a strain on the structure that it'll rip it apart, and you've got panels and shit flying apart, and you're approaching, again, the ground really quickly. So this game is nuts. I love it. Doesn't cost too much on Steam, but you can also buy it from the website. But I don't know. I do like my craft. I'll take suggestions. I think this one actually had issues because the fact is that these tails are too small and don't provide enough stability to the craft. So I got a lot of craft that I've made that have led to a lot of casualties. But great thing about these Kerbals is they never complain. So I'm gonna pick one. I think we're gonna pick the. I guess we'll pick the Wraith. Why not? Pick the Wraith, but we need tail. We'll go with it. Whatever. Looking like a 1950s bomber. Actually, yeah, was it the XB-70 was, I think it was the Valkyrie, and it went to about Mach 3 and was supposed to be a supersonic nuclear bomber, and eventually they cut it off, but it was capable. Let's see how shitty this thing will work. So we need some flaps there just to finish this off. Let's wrap it up, Dave. People are here to see Phil. So let's see if they can leave satisfied. This isn't the diner, but nerd shit. Nerd shit. Nope. Nope. What you doing, Dave? Yep. Nope. Well, yes. There. Nope. Is it? No. Not what I said. Come on. There we go. All right. I think we can do this. So the Wraith is an ugly bitch, but she'll do. What do we got coming into the crew? Ghost Kerman. Well, Ghost from the Coast is here, so we're not going to use him. The only person available is Casey. Okay, Casey. I'm going to put you in there. I don't know, like, what do you think, Ghost? The Ghost and the Wraith? Maybe that's a sign that I should use you as the pilot. I don't want to kill you, but I don't know. What do you say? We'll give him a moment. I don't know. Now looking at it, I thought, hey, that kind of works. Ghost and the Wraith. Sort of, again, if you understand the difference and understand the paranormal, yes. All right, so I guess we're going to just use Casey. He'll take the glory because Ghost from the Coast did not want to mention that. But okay, so let's launch it. And I'm using my keyboard and mouse for this, so it might not be the best flying. That's just how it works. All right. We're going to increase our throttle here. Activate our SAS. May work. I don't know. What else we got? Oh, we got some music to play. That's what we got. Hopefully it's not too loud. Actually, let me just try to put a little bit here. Why not? I found this. Actually, it's pretty cool. It's a cover of Danger Zone by apparently No Resolve, featuring State of Mind. I think it's cool. And, yeah. Let's see how this craft of mine works. Shout out to the haters. Okay, so apparently my game is too loud. And the music is too soft, so we're going to change that here. Master volume, we're going to reduce that from 20 to 10. We'll apply and accept. We're going to increase the volume of the song. It's got to work out, people. Hold on. What in tarnation? All right, so how are we gonna do this? We're gonna do this, and this. What's up, Bolsey? Music is sorry, the whole game a little too loud, so there we go. Shout out to the 11 viewing right now. We're going supersonic. A perfect weapons delivery platform. There we go. We gotta straighten out to build up speed. Look at our apoapsis rising. We got Casey. He's keeping cool. Starting to see some heating. We're going supersonic here, obviously. And we're reaching hypersonic speeds. We need, it's 1500, I believe. We gotta steady this out or we're gonna get too high up in the atmosphere where it gets too thin. Gotta pitch down just a little. Keep it at this altitude. Or close to. Right at the edge of the atmosphere. If we look at the map, then all we got to do is, if we want,
help is always within reach during the Bring Home the Savings sale. Now save 25% on
commercials. No, I got 1,000 viewers, or sorry, 1,000 subscribers, and I still won't. I'm not going to enable that. I don't give a flying fuck. Oh, YouTube says you can make money and blah 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 at all your catalog, and no. Okay, enough is enough. I've got to deal with those fucking commercials. Everyone has to deal with those fucking commercials. No, you want to donate to me? I really do appreciate it. It is fucking awesome. But you're not going to be subjected to fucking ads. Simple as that. I'm not going to subject myself to fucking ads. And I don't think the same should be done to you. Again, my stuff has huge replay value. We all know that. But yeah, that's uncalled for, unnecessary, and yeah, I don't like it. We have our substantial amount of fuel, but we've used a fifth, maybe. The heat buildup on our craft is increasing. We're just at the edge of optimal use, basically, for air-breathing craft. And we got to keep this in mind so that we don't go too high up, and it says it's going right now, get to the point where the engines just lose the ability to use the atmosphere for its benefit. Because again, you're mixing fuel with this air and producing a resulting force that propels you. Darth Bullseye says, throw some dude in Allen's belts. Are you talking about the Van Allen belts? I could certainly talk about those for hours because they are intrinsic to the whole concept that the Apollo program was able to get humans on and off the moon. A premise that I will argue that I can prove is false. But I don't diminish the whole argument down to the stupid resulting argument, which is, did we go to the moon or not? You got to specify. Was it Cold War propaganda? Was it a scientific vessel with no humans? There's a lot to this sort of thing. But regardless, I still love to do moon landings on this game, or in this game, however you want to refer to it. And you know, most of the physics that it allows for, it doesn't include things like cosmic rays or radiation and stuff. This game, these little things, these little Kerbals, they can survive most things. So it doesn't include that. But if we're going to include that for a human, that makes a big deal. So that's clearly a topic that needs to be discussed when it comes to when people ask that really vague question, did we land on the moon? What do you mean we? And what do you mean land? You know? Coke and Smack in the chat says, afternoon, Dave. Thank you for no commercials. Mars sounded like a grumpy old man last Drama Diner. Don't know who you are, but I will say this. There were more than one. There was, see, I can recognize my own grammar. There was more than one individual that actually did state that about that particular episode. So don't consider yourself somebody in the minority, because with the few people that are around and are willing to speak, that was a sentiment that I also saw from other people. We are at close to 19 kilometers. The heat on our craft is building up rapidly. We want to steady this. We are still at that optimal altitude where the atmosphere is useful, but we are building up that speed. Yeah, with this sort of thing, we could get into orbit if we wanted to. In fact, how about let's just point up to the sky? That's what we'll do. We'll go into the high atmosphere, let our engines cut off, and eventually get back down to, because we'll go suborbital. But yeah, let's do that, because the engines are going to cut off. I think it's about here. Right here, obviously there's no atmosphere, but there's slight atmosphere. But again, we're going to see, chances are, that one engine's going to cut off before the other, and it's going to send us into a spin, or it's going to try to. But we're going to see what happens here. We are at maximum throttle. See what it looks like inside for Casey the scientist. He's not even a pilot. Oh shit. If I press EVA, this guy will just pop out of here and fall to his death. But I'm going to try not to press that button. That's Casey in there, manning the plane. Got the plasma building off, the heat building. And again, we haven't even hardly used our fuel. We started here, there you go, Kerbal Space Center, and we've made it here just flying. We've got, again, if you take a look at this, we've already made it close to, yeah, just about a quarter. So we have enough fuel basically to get back to our start point. That's kind of crazy. I didn't realize that I engineered it that way, but there we go, baby. And it does seem to have a margin, a larger margin of fuel allocated, which would allow for stopping at various places. 'Cause there are various places like ruins and other airfields, bases that you can land at. So it does seem like there would be enough margin for me to be able to explore the world and still have enough fuel to get back home. But with the amount of fuel that's currently on here, I can just stay airborne and traverse the entire world, which is crazy. There's no plane currently that exists that, well, no commercial aircraft exists currently that's in use, okay, that does this. We've seen, well, those who pay attention to aeronautics have seen that there are craft that are capable of doing this, that have been proposed, even built, using technologies that necessarily aren't on vogue, with the public, nuclear, for example, so they don't get pursued. Regardless, we got Darth Bullseye. See, this is the great thing. I haven't even set this to autopilot. This is flying on its own merit, people. So if people thought that Dave Rose was going to fuck up, well, you were wrong, at least so far. There's still a lot of time left. Darth Bullseye says in the chat, actually, I looked into the moon landing in the summary. The inner and outer belts are highly radioactive. Here's the thing. The belts themselves aren't radioactive. It's the fact that they contain, because they retain the radiation that is sent to them. Cosmic rays, what's it called? The solar winds, but there's also another one from the sun. I can't remember right now, stoned. But I'm playing it. But yeah, basically all this radiation that comes from the outside is kept at bay by these fields, and rather than reach Earth, they just get caught up in these magnetic fields. So yeah, that's basically it. And yeah, I'm smoking what's called liquid imagination. It's good stuff. We are, again, traveling subsonic now. We are losing speed. We are a little bit higher in the atmosphere than our engines would allow to be efficient. So we are losing altitude, but we are still airborne, and we still maintain, as we can see, the apoapsis is the highest point of orbit, if you get to orbit, but highest point of flight. But this thing, although it remains behind us, it's still maintaining itself close to us, which means if we just adjust it slightly, and I'll show you in a second, we'll maintain that ability to continue to fly and not lose altitude. Slowly but slowly, if we don't adjust our altitude, we will lose altitude. That's just how it goes. Until you can get to the point where you can go into, again, perpetual free fall, which is basically gaining enough speed to go into orbit of Earth and not fall back due to its gravity. But yeah, we can easily change that. So let's go back to, there we go. We're now flying in total darkness. But the craft is maintaining itself at a fairly relative speed without any interaction from me. So, and look at that silhouette. That looks beautiful. Look at that. That does look like a nice proper bomber. Actually, it sort of looks like what's called the B-1B. The B-1A was never produced. It was supposed to be supersonic, but or Mach 3, I believe, and they couldn't produce it, so they made the B version or variant, and this thing could still push Mach 1, and they can deliver standard munitions or even nuclear. So yeah, cool stuff. So we are at 20 kilometers. Our altitude is declining, so let's see if we What's going on here? What's going on? I'm getting some sort of interference. I don't know if it's... I see your comment in the chat, Bullsy. I'll get to that in a second, but I don't know what happened there. Craft decided to just act on its own. Let's flatten out here. Thicker atmosphere. Now we're going to get supersonic again. Bolsey says those same fields are made up of protons within the inner belt and electrons in the outer belt. The crazy thing is they're so powerful that Apollo 10 literally crashed after getting out of Earth. Apollo didn't crash. Apollo 10 didn't crash. We're talking radiation inhumanly possible to survive, even with a ship that couldn't even withstand that much radioactivity. Yeah, it wasn't built for withstanding radioactivity. Additionally, what are you saying here? There's more radiation that you can encounter outside the magnetosphere and the Van Allen radiation belts that you can inside or in those belts themselves. So on the moon, you're subject to cosmic, galactic cosmic rays, like shit that's coming from other places and stuff, not just the sun, and they deal a lot of radiation. And the surface of the moon is irradiated, which means it's constantly receiving these rays, which means that if anyone was to step on them, you get cancer in your legs literally within hours. So there's that. Now we continue to fly here. 24 kilometers. We are losing speed because we are going higher up in the atmosphere, as you can see. But again, we continue. How far? Or maybe what is this? A fifth away from our base. I guess we're gonna go for an entire round the world type thing. I'm surviving so far. There were the doubters. Yeah, it very much does look like that that B-1 bomber that America has, and in fact, it actually has swept wings. So it was designed for the new type of warfare for the 90s, late 80s, early 90s, where rather than strategic bombers, they were more used for tactical attacks. So they would, again, these wings would extend just like the F-14. They could fly at low altitudes, at low speeds, and they could deliver munitions. Again, not very high up in altitude, but very close to the ground. And yeah, its continued use clearly shows that it's quite capable. Shout out to the 8 viewing right now. Should I do a moon landing or something after this? Casey seems okay. This just proves my engineering ability. Oh, nice. We are going quite quick here. Look at that. We'll see whether or not this craft even burns up. Wasn't necessarily made to go at this speed, but let's see. It's not that bad. With these special mods you can download, this shit looks crazy. It's fucking actual flames. It's, yeah. This game has so many mods. We are very close. If we pulled up, we'd get in the into suborbit. In fact, let's just do that. No, we are building up good speed, and we are at a good angle of attack. The only issue is that once we get to a certain point, we're going to start to lose that speed because the atmosphere is getting thin. But we are very close to maximum speed at this altitude. If I pitch down, we'll maintain that momentum and go faster. See, we're starting to lose that. We're starting to lose that. But if I just keep adjusting, and this is basically skimming the top of the atmosphere. Or, not the top of it, but you're scooping up an area where it's... How can I put this? It's the last optimal point where you can utilize the atmosphere for the limitations you have with your engine. Also, I find it very difficult for people to continue to criticize me. Even to this day, saying Dave Rose is pretending to be intelligent. Like, nigga, are you talking about this shit? This stuff enthralls me. I love the science talk. Love the space talk. Love, discussing the fact that there's a lot of mysteries around space stuff. I was going to say the C word, conspiracy, but I don't like that word because that word was created by was utilized by the CIA to essentially try to label people as crazy when they brought up a legitimate concern. So, fuck that. We are slowly losing altitude, but we're also losing speed now, so it's not what we want. Let's see if we can build it up a little more. There we go. Bullseye says, just in short, it would damn near be impossible for Apollo 11 to get through the Van Allen bouts without humans being affected. Yes, and when they've published, that's the thing though, is they've published, because they were supposed to account for this, they published the information saying, well, this is the amount of radiation that they will be getting. It didn't match up. And again, especially because the science shows that it just would have been disastrous for them. They probably wouldn't have even reached the surface of the moon because the radiation would have been so intense that they just would have been dead. But if they had gotten to the moon's surface, gotten down, exposed themselves with suits that weren't meant for, dealing with high levels of radiation, already on the record by NASA, they probably would have died there on the surface and not been able to get back to Earth. So when you look at the radiation, that's one of the big, when you understand the basic math, that's the big thing. That's one of the biggest cracks in the whole theory, the whole story. Shout out to Shaft in the chat. He says, hey, afternoon, Dave, sorry. Please, let's not kill Danny MT Kerbal. No, we got Casey here, so. He's doing well, though. He's flying at a high altitude of 22 kilometers at 1,230 so meters per second. He is close to halfway around the world right now, and he's doing a great job. Shout out to the 7. But yeah, this is Dave Engineering. It's working well, clearly, and no mods, anything, and there's some fucking amazing mods. But like I said earlier, is that I've enjoyed the challenge of just trying to use the stock, see if I can make it work. And that's the best part of this game that people don't understand, is that the destruction that goes on if your design fails, this thing will break apart. All the pieces will just fly off. Like, the guy's gonna he'll end up either blowing up in a cloud of smoke, or he'll land and then and land, and then explode in a cloud of smoke. So basically what I did was I didn't pay attention. We went to this point here. Good to know. But our engines are totally shut off because there's not enough oxygen going into them. So we can see the apogee here now changing. Okay, we don't have the momentum to keep the apogee going in front of us. So now we're going to start falling. We are now at, I'm going to be at this for a bit, but again, we want to get back to close to 20 kilometers when we were getting some traction here. But the good thing is we have that momentum, and we have that lift that is being provided by this craft. So this will allow us to coast, essentially. And a lot of craft, yeah, there we go, we're starting up again. But we want to adjust ourselves. We want to go back into the atmosphere so much. But now we've got a better idea, and this is the best thing about this game is, okay, now you've experienced at what point it cuts out, but at what point it works, and you can sort of tweak that so that your engines will continue to function even at an altitude where it's going to be a challenge. So this game fucking rocks. Darth Bullseye says, funny enough, I imagine some dumbass designing a spaceship poorly, and before it launches, the dude goes heading up before exploding. Well, it can be that way if you want. That's the funny thing, is you can make any sort of craft that you can imagine, and you can make it silly if you want. You can try to make it challenging. You have a sandbox mode, which is what I'm playing. You've got a science mode where you're trying to, again, optimize for collecting science on either, again, different biomes or different areas of a planet. Hills, valleys, mountains, all that sort of thing in the atmosphere, high up in the atmosphere, low atmosphere. You know, you've got your mission mode, and you're giving missions, and you have to, again, try to accomplish things. So, pretty cool. So let's see where we are in the world right now. I'm getting hungry. What time? Only 4:43. You glutton, Dave. So who's that? Cronin Kerman is stranded at wherever the fuck that is. But this is us. We're halfway around the world, basically. Oop. There we go. We are gaining that heat. You know what? Sorry, Casey. You're part of the experiment now. We're going to see whether or not you survive. But, seems that we can't get faster than 1,381.1 meters per second. We need to do something about that. Sorry, Casey. But, science calls. So I'm trying to right now steady this craft. I'm trying to get the SAS, the computer, on board to keep it doing that. But we are getting, look at that, look at that. It might just blow up. It might just blow up. Come on, Casey. You willing to die for the cause? Speed right now, 1,400, breaking 1,400. Yeah, we're losing shit. Who do we lose? An engine? Possibly a tail? Oh yeah, we lost a tail fin. We got to keep this going. Oh, we lost the other tail engine. There's a tail fin. Let's see if we can, I set it to prograde, so it should keep it to the optimal orientation to gain as much speed as possible. And we might be able to get the heat necessary to blow up the cabin. because that's another fun aspect of it. It's like, fuck it. Let's see how this engineering lasts as I try to put them in the worst conditions as possible. So, come on, Casey. Heating up. We are increasing speed. It was pretty good. This is, as you can see up here, this is the fairly thickest part of the atmosphere. Well, no, it's the most optimum for the thickest down here, obviously. But it's the most optimum for the engines when they need to be building up speed. Our cabin looks like it's about to explode. Yes. You're expendable, Casey. Sorry. But I get your video game collection when you pass. We got half of our fuel left. Speed is continuing to rise. It's fucking great. Yeah, there we go. Oh, Casey, we love you, buddy. But yeah, you were just a test pilot. So, and it was a secret operation, so no one will ever know your name. But on that note, let's get out of here. It's where do we want to go? Let's go to Space Center. I don't know, Bullseye, you got something to say? You can always call up if you want. I was just chilling out, really. I don't know how I've been going on for, hold on. Going on for an hour and close to 25 minutes. An hour, 25 minutes. I wanted to try to, again, play some Kerbals and see what my my actions would do. But kind of, I've got my fill, I think, for the day. I've gone for hours in the past, but right now, I'm not really feeling it. There are a lot of things that people are saying that I'm getting messages about, and that might necessarily require me to speak of. Hold on, he says I did do a little digging on the moon landing theory. Okay, do you want to call in? Yeah, let me do this. Do that. I'm not going to play while Bullsey's, if Bullseye calls in, or anybody else for that matter, but not too many people have the guts to do that, that's correct. But they do have that extended hand and that entitlement attitude. But I'm not going to distract myself with the game. That is disrespectful. To play a game while you are speaking to others. But I guess I'll open up my Skype. I believe Bullseye is a Skype guy. I saw you on Ken's show last night. Mello wasn't that bad. Still very, but it was nice to hear other people be able to express their opinions without constantly having to deal with Mello. There's Bullseye. They sent me a link from, what was this? Wednesday. Dramatics, episode 4. There's other ways to hit me up, which are quicker on Skype. Yeah, I'll give you a call. How about that? okay there. I'll take calls from anybody, really, but I honestly thought it was later, but I'll enjoy my meal tonight regardless, as I always do. But yeah, I could play more Kerbal. I don't know. I accomplished what I wanted to do. I wanted to fucking get a plane going really fast and potentially to blow up. There we go. But there is potential drama on the horizon that might need to be discussed. And I don't know. I think I've proven myself and again shown how good I am. But do we really need to go back to that place? I know some people would probably enjoy it, but nobody does it better than Dave Rose. And do we really need to do this? Because we've seen the after effects when it comes to Dave Rose. But at least you have something to look forward to with the what's the channel here? Let me remind myself. The Drama Community Rewind podcast channel. Because the next thing they're planning on doing is, what was it? I think it was a Drama Emperor review. But yeah, that's as I discussed, fresh and new on an old topic, and obviously there are some people that are still hung up on an old topic, and they desire some sort of content, no matter what it is. This individual steps in and be like, "Hey, funny as it is, here you go," and people lap it up, and I, from the sidelines, laugh at it too and say, I can't deny the effort that went into this, and it's entertaining. I laughed. But some people are overly concerned about something that they can't stop anyways. And why should they want to? But yeah, something I might need to be discussing in drama circles. Maybe that'll be my new show. Trademark Dave Rose. You better not take it. You better not take it right now. I swear to God. I better not see any show from this moment on to the next time that I fucking stream. And it's called Drama Circles. I better not see anybody else in this community utilizing that fucking word. And if so, I'm going to wave my finger at you like an old man. That'll teach you. But what's going on here? So Bullseye, are you gonna call in? And what's gonna? You dropped out of Discord. You abandoned your own fucking channel that you created. But you said you wanted to talk things. Come on, man. There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only, it's Bullseye.
Got to call in finally. Yay.
Finally?
Anyway.
I wasn't preventing you from calling in.
Oh no, there was something different going on, and I'll just put it that way.
Okay.
But
great stuff.
There was going to be like a lot of noise, and it's just would have been like annoying, and I didn't want to put you through that. So now I'm out of the noise. But anyway, you caught the stream I was on, and you're still annoyed by Mello? I mean...
I still what?
So you caught the stream I was on Ken's stream, right, yesterday?
Yeah.
All right. And Mello is still one of those guys who are going on?
Why shouldn't I? It just annoys me. You added more content to that show than fucking Mello did.
That's the thing. Like, okay, the only thing that irritates me about Mello is sometimes he tries to make it about himself. Like it's like,
Hold on. Did you just say sometimes, as in not most of the time? I just want to be clear because I think it's more the latter than the former. But there's a lot of people that agree with me. But hey, maybe we're all crazy and we're not seeing what is reality. But you're a kind kid. Just having more faith in him than you should. Because let's just be honest, dude. Let's just drop it. The guy, he does want to make it about himself. He does. And it's unfortunate because it takes away from other people. And he'll talk over everyone. He's talked over you a bunch of times. And I'm like yelling at the fucking stream. Yo, fucking let fucking this guy talk. Let that guy talk. Like, stop fucking interrupting Mello. But he does it. That's not fair to you. That's not fair to anybody. And in fact, I'm interested in other people's opinions other than fucking Mello's. Surprise! Does that sound crazy? I know, like somebody else other than Mello, their opinion might matter. Yeah. Crazy stuff.
Well, that's an interesting point to point out. Ken has...
Is it poignant or false?
It's poignant. Don't get me wrong. I can't say you're wrong, dude. I'm just trying to be nice about it, okay? I'm just trying to be nice.
And where has that gotten you? That's the problem and where's that gotten anybody? It's like when you try to be nice towards this sort of level of what is clearly cognitive disrespect. It's not like this person is, again, Melo's not retarded. He knows what he's doing. But when he does it, it's like literally is just a sign of disrespect. Not just to Ken running his own show, but to anyone that fucking he interacts with and how he down talks and like downplays what they're saying and just dismisses them entirely or again talks over them. Very disrespectful.
Well, there is one, like there's several moments I can point out. There's one moment that I'll say this. It's definite. Because like, Ken was talking about how there was this girl doing whatever shit she was doing with the really white face. And there was a ghost in the background doing whatever dance and his dog growling at the TV. And Shannon, he talked about was like, yeah, how does a dog even know something about that? And dogs do have some sort of perception for some odd reason to bark, and there's some cameras showing out a ghost. There are several examples of this. But what I noticed about Netflix, and I pointed it out, is like they love satanic. They love satanic stuff, and what I mean by satanic, they'll push like gays and lesbians. Like they're highly into shit like that, edgy that are like, and then gays and lesbians into that. Then Mello's just like, oh, I don't like that. I'm just like, what? That was one of the weirdest things. Well, not the weirdest, but that was an odd thing to say. I'll say that. I don't like that. You don't like me saying they're pushing gay agenda? Because that's been happening.
Now, let me ask you this. And to me, this, regardless of the answer, it's still exasperating because we all have to deal with it. But okay, there's a really, let's be honest, just using logic, no emotion, but there's really only two options when it comes to Mello. He's so stupid and inept, he doesn't know what he's doing. Or the total fucking polar opposite. He knows exactly what he's doing. So which one do you think it is?
Oof. I've talked about this before. I do think he does it on purpose. I've went over this kind of behavior pattern where well, first of all, he'll do these random skits and bits. Like there's instances of him putting his own foot in his mouth on camera. Mm-hmm. There's that part. And there's also the fact that he had to be Tommy and C by playing Bommy. I'm not too sure about that whole ordeal, but that was a thing at the time. And then there's even the fact that he sometimes pulls up some pictures randomly. I guess that's just part of the show, but they don't really serve a purpose outside of the fact that, hey, look here, right? In addition to that, overall, sometimes like when you try to talk to him, sometimes he feels the need to bring up something else entirely, which is
deflection. Yes.
Yeah. Like that's the whole thing. And anytime we talk politics, this is a weird talking point for him. He always says it's all about the money.
Oh my God, that's also a great impression. But that's absolutely correct. That I've noticed multiple times that he said that I believe last night, and he wants to take off the focus, which is something you've been tweeting about. He wants to take the focus off the bureaucrats who are unelected and are spending money hand over fist and say, well, what about these companies? Okay, what about fucking Tesla that had to pay, and Elon Musk that had to pay so much taxes despite the fact that they're employing, legal people, all this stuff. Meanwhile, all these other companies that employ illegals are paying all these taxes and stuff. So again, like, it's very disingenuous. The manner that he tries to debate.
Yeah, it's. I always notice this, and it's just like, dude, it's sometimes I'm mentally in pain with like, dude, okay, that's not the point of the conversation, okay.
Well, he certainly tries to deflect, and then I've noticed times where he sorts of denigrates you, and like sort of like, figuratively pats you on the head and be like, okay, you're younger than me, so literally you don't know what I know about. So, good luck, kid. Like, I'm not going to take your opinion as anything valid. And that's like disrespectful. But that's the way I see it. I don't know if you see it that way.
Yeah, well,
he does that to Tommy. Sort of like disrespects him right there on fucking Ken's show.
Well, it's passive, so he does it passively, sort of. So like he'll times like there's one moment I kept trying to ask him a question like it was about like the Capitol riots, even though they're not really riots. If you remember the insurrection talk, I kept asking. It was something about like Nancy Pelosi, and I kept trying to ask him like what examples, and he just kept making jokes and not taking it seriously, just switching the narrative. Just like, dude, I'm just trying to ask a question, dude. Like, how come? Like, why you keep moving different topics? Like, and Ken even played it up to what he was saying. I was just like, well, he certainly doesn't want to talk about this anymore.
There's many people that have done that in the past in this community, and the fact is that they use comedy to try to dissuade any further discussion, to sort of reduce sort of the steam, the stress in a situation, and make them look like a clown. But again, I've always said, it's like, if you're going to be laughing like this and acting like a clown, go join a fucking circus. You don't belong here.
Ken has serious topics brought up, and also mixed it with comedy when it was necessary. He's just, listen, his show is goofy, but it's always been goofy when the time was right, not whenever.
Yeah.
So there's that part.
But then again, there's times where Ken is trying to talk serious, like talk news stories or something like that, and Mello and always inevitably has to interject and give. Again, he'll claim that it's contrarian, like, oh, I'm just fucking being the opposite pole of what you're saying to give a balanced view on things. That's not what he's doing. He's entrenched in his beliefs and views. The guy is fucking practically a Bolshevik, okay? This guy's a fucking Marxist commie. And he'll try to approach Ken in a very disingenuous and disgusting way. He's like, oh, but Ken, you're just confused. Pat on the head there. Like, no, like, I know what's best for you. And like, yeah, I don't like to admit it, but I voted for Biden 3 times. I have an illegal passport, so I voted for him an extra time, Like, that's mellow. That's fucking mellow. And people can say whatever the fuck they want about this, but when you confront him about this, which I have in the past, he gets very aggravated. He does not like the scrutiny where you have to ask him and he has to respond about, are you faking it? Are you doing this because you're fucking wrong and you're just trying to be contrarian? Are you really this fucking liberal and retarded, communist level shit? Like, what? He doesn't like it at all.
So, like, that was an instance where you actually just asked him a question?
Multiple times, dude. Multiple times.
And
he doesn't like to be pressed for this shit. And again, forget me And he's been more, I guess, reactive with me than others. But when Ken presses in sometimes, you'll see that reaction from Mello. Sometimes it's like hitting out sort of in spite type thing.
Yeah. Well, that's another thing. Like, okay, so Ken says like there's only like 2 to 3 people that really complain about Mello, and that's and I don't know for sure, but and so I heard about like the stream stream the other day, right? You guys talked about how Ken and Mello had a debate and Ken was frustrated, so I checked it out. Now, again,
I didn't say anything about that. That was messages that were sent to me. But yeah, basically, Mello, just for those that don't know, Mello was aggravating Ken to the point where Ken literally had to yell to him to shut the fuck up so that Ken could get something out. So
because when I listened in, Ken was talking about like the situation in Gaza and Trump saying I'm going to seize control over it.
Yep.
And why Trump was saying this. And when Ken brought up shock value, Mello immediately referred to WWE and kept referring to WWE. And this is the thing. Okay, I've seen the live chat replay. They weren't too happy with Mello either. I'll say that. But this is the one thing that caught me off guard. Mello was bringing up WWE, and Ken was trying to talk about the situation in Gaza and Trump. And he brought shock value up because Trump is this kind of the bombastic behavior sometimes. Trump is pretty good at getting a rise out of people. He understands people enough to, trigger them.
Why do you find that surprising from Mello, though? Because he's done this in the past where somebody's talking something serious. This is happening with me, too. You're talking about a serious topic. I've seen this way more often with Ken, but Ken's talking about a serious topic. Whoever is talking about this. And he comes in with the most obtuse sort of topic to try to add on to it and sort of really redirect the discussion, which again I think speaks more about his narcissism, where he wants to be controlling that discussion rather than just letting it go organically, as we've seen in the past with so many shows when they were at their height and we saw those golden ages.
Okay. Well, actually, when I say surprised, there was a particular moment in the conversation, because when Ken actually got mad and talks about, like, Liz, I'm trying to be serious right now and you're being joking. And Mello was like, no, you brought up shock value and I thought WWE. I am being serious. That's the part that made me go, huh? It wasn't shocking like, oh my God. It was more like, huh?
No, but you're right. I noticed that too, because it was a quick deflection, because it wasn't anything close to what Ken was talking about. So bringing up the WWE has nothing to do with it. And how could you come to that conclusion from what Ken was talking about at that moment? It's such a fucking, like a total polar opposite that it's just like, where's this coming from? So I see exactly what you're saying. I'm going to agree with that.
So, yeah, Ken was like, well, I apologize, but clearly when Ken brought up the shock value versus Mello bringing up WWE, comparing those two, Ken wasn't talking about a script of a screen TV show where somebody does something balls off the wall to get views. Ken was talking about a guy trying to stir the pot in other countries, in which he's been successful so far by making these, we'll call them threats to, scare the other countries into, doing whatever he gives them deals with. For example, if you heard of Mexico, where she finally agreed to the 25% tariffs after talking all that shit. Yeah, I'm just going to send those people back that you're going to deport. And then after the meeting, she agreed to his terms. So there you go. So Trump is only doing this shit for shock value. That's Ken's point. He says these things to, rile his opponents up, his political opponents, because he knows that they're going to react. That's what Ken was talking about. And that's why he said something about the Gaza Strip seizing control over it. He might actually do that, though, because the Gaza Strip is a fucking cesspool of shit. And Israel has been blockading the, water and support, the things they control. over in the Gaza Strip, because they said, well, it's because of the Hamas, the thing we funded, but now we don't want to give them any support, despite we
And
actually
Bullseye,
own them.
if you were on Ken's show right now, you'd have Mello interrupted and be like, "No, we're not talking about Gaza. Like Israel did nothing wrong," and the bias comes out week after week when he tries to misdirect the discussion on things that obviously make him look bad. Remember the issue where in Brooklyn they were finding that synagogue that had access to underground tunnels, and they were pulling out mattresses that had like blood and shit stains on them?
Oh yeah.
Mello just dismissed that entirely and like, no, that was just like, that was fake news and stuff. It's like, but there's multiple mainstream, channels that are actually covering this shit, and you see that. When mainstream covers it, they can't lie about it because it's just so overwhelming. And he's lying and trying to, diminish the whole importance of the fact that this is what you found in a fucking synagogue. And then you have this whole knowledge of human trafficking in America, and things start to add up. But again, I remember when Ken brought that up, his immediate response, oh, that's anti-Semitic to talk about that. Not that like, holy shit, that was kind of weird. In a synagogue of all places, you got this tunnel and then they're pulling out fucking mattresses. No, it was just like, it's anti-Semitic to talk about it. Total attempt to shut down the discussion.
Yeah. Well, okay. So my overall point being, yeah, that's similar to what I was talking about, though, when Mello does these things. But similar when I was listening to it, and Mello was just talking about, like, oh, you brought up shock value, and I thought WWE. I'm being serious, like, thinking of shock value. Clearly, that's not what Ken meant. He didn't think WWE because he was thinking Gaza Strip, Trump seizing control. Script writing. Sure, you can compare, like, the political situation like entertainment. It is entertaining, don't get me wrong, but Ken was being serious, trying to make a statement about what Trump is trying to do. Okay, and Mello brought up WWE, which is an entertainment-specific sport. And so I don't see how he's making those connections. So to me, I think
because he's not. He's just trying to deflect the discussion. He's trying to redirect it to something that isn't something that makes him feel attacked, basically. Because he knows the truth. He knows the truth, and that's why he doesn't want to talk about these sorts of things. He'll try to shift it onto somebody else.
That's funny because I think your statements have been reaffirmed, because on that same call, he was like, I'm uncomfortable. I was like, well, I mean,
he's said some stuff like that in the past. And again, I've got no dog in the fight. I just simply, just like you and many others, is just like, here's what I observed. Here's my assessment. I'm not a fucking retard. I can come to my own fucking assessments on my own. So this is what I see. Maybe I'm wrong, but this is what I see. And when other people see the same thing as you do, it's just like, it's not fucking hallucination or anything. It's just like, yeah, maybe it's not us who's got the problem.
So at best, Ken did apologize. Okay. So Ken just wanted to reiterate what he was trying to say. Mello just said he thought WWE because Ken said shock value. And honestly, like, I don't think Mello just was just trying to be goofy about the whole situation because he didn't want to talk about something that is
actually. There's another explanation. Maybe he wasn't even listening to Ken because he thinks it's his own show and he's the main character. So while Ken is just talking away, whatever, he's just listening. It's just like, bzz, nothing. And he's thinking, hey, shock value and WWE, and let me say that now. Who cares what Ken has been saying for the last few minutes? I'm just going to say something right now. The show's about me, so it doesn't matter what Ken's saying. People are going to laugh at what I say. Maybe it's that. Maybe he's so narcissistic that he he doesn't even consider the world around him. So somebody could be talking. There could be you and Ken could be having a debate about something. And then he'll just come in and be like, I love fucking shortbread cookies. It's just like, hold on, what? Like, we've been talking for the last 15 minutes having a debate, and you come in with something that's telling you, well, yeah, it's because it's my show.
Well,
am
I don't know
am I
about
wrong in that assessment? Do you not see that sort of influence that he has where it appears, at least, that he thinks that he's the main character, that he's the one that's running the show, that he's the one in control, and that he goes too far because you've got Ken, as was spoken about, is the guy, he gets tired. He gets fucking frustrated. It's like, look, enough, dude. I'm trying to run a fucking show and you're doing this. I got to shut you down. And he's gone to praise the guy. Like, yeah, I appreciate his loyalty. I've criticized that because I think it's short-sighted, but I've been honest about it. Regardless, is that he still keeps him on there. But you'd think Mello would just smarten up and be like, oh, shit, you know what? Maybe Ken's right because it's his own show, and I just got to look for those cues. Rather than be like, yeah, I'm going to keep doing my own thing, and I'm going to run this show like it's mine, even though it's Ken who's running and all that. And, talk over other people.
Well, I'm not sure about I don't know about the narcissistic thing. I'm not too sure about that. But there is the definite temptations to make it about himself. So
that is narcissism. How else would you define it? Also, it sounds like you've got a lightsaber in the background. But how if you're talking about yourself, it really is narcissism. What else could you call it? Or at least when the emphasis so much is on yourself.
Well, it could be narcissism. Don't get me wrong. I'm just not going to go that far and think that he's an actual narcissist. I don't think he's even capable of being
Then how
one.
do you describe his actions when, again, like you've even admitted, he tries to make it about himself? How else do you define a narcissist other than making it all about themselves?
Well, I mean, I know a narcissist have entitlement to something that they feel like they deserve.
Like
I
being on Insomniac? It's
yeah.
textbook case, dude. How are you not seeing this fucking equation? You've got, again, Mello, who feels entitled to be on Ken's show. You have, again, so entitled that he'll say shit that will upset the fucking host. You know, he'll fucking get him to the point where he's yelling at Mello to shut the fuck up. That's how entitled he feels. Am I wrong here? Have you not observed this?
I've seen it. You're right. It's just I'm trying to be nice to Mello here.
Yeah, no. Stop being nice. Okay, emotions are for females, okay? Thoughts and ration are for men. You're a man. So please be a man and just forget about insulting people because you know what? You insult them more by not telling them the truth. Okay, like an alcoholic, for example. You insult them by not saying, dude, you need fucking help. You got a problem with alcohol. I'm willing to help you, but you've got a problem, and I'm not going to fucking be like the rest and say you don't got a problem. You do. So, again, be honest. Be honest with yourself. Be honest with Mello.
Well, again, there's a probable definite cause that you're making that he is a narcissist. Don't get me wrong. I'm just
Does it
trying
not
to take
fit the definition? Again, I'm not going on emotional. Okay, narcissist, big word. Oh, scary, blah, blah, blah. Oh, people use it. Cool. Does my analysis fit within that definition, which is to make a show about yourself to the point where you are getting mad at other people for taking your thunder on a show that doesn't belong to you? Mello's embodied every single thing I just said. Okay? So, explain to me how that is not narcissism. It's the definition. It's the definition. It's about him.
I can't tell you that. That's honest. That's just being honest. I can't tell you how he isn't a narcissist. Because, like you said, yeah, by your examination, yeah, it is by example, evidence that he couldn't actually be a narcissist.
I'm just presenting the facts. It could be somebody else. You come to the same conclusion regardless who is saying the message. Don't shoot the messenger. Look at the message. If it's factual, it's correct. And again, I don't hate the guy. I don't despise the guy. I just recognize what he's doing and I'm willing to call it out. There's nothing wrong with that because I've experienced episodes where he wasn't going over the top and they were enjoyable because then not only I could hear Ken without him being talked over, I could hear Mello and his fucking crazy advice. I could hear Filthy. I could hear Cunny. But again, there was a balance. There was a time where Mello did not act this way. And I've talked about this, which is, again, another reason why I've said I don't hate the guy. I just know what he's fucking doing. And he thinks it's fucking funny, but I keep saying, if you're going to laugh like a fucking clown, go join a fucking circus because you don't belong here. Again, there's a balance that's necessary. If you were running your own show, you can treat any of your guests like shit, Mello. But it's not that way. You're not doing that. You're going on to somebody else's show and you're acting as if you're the main character. And then getting insulted when people call you out on that.
Okay. Well, okay, bro.
And what about him baiting Tommy? Okay, you've recognized this too. Is that that actually seems somewhat malicious, to be quite honest. Is that he'll do the whole stupid Tommy thing. He'll try to say things that will get fucking Tommy riled up. And yeah, Tommy has a problem with that. Let's just be honest. Tommy does get inflamed very quickly. He is pleasant from time to time when that doesn't happen. It's nice to see when he can power through rather than just, lose out to his emotions. But I enjoy listening to Tommy when, it's not all about him and stuff. But Mello knows what he's doing when he fucking tries to get this guy riled up. And then you've got fucking Tommy throwing up his hands like, fuck it, Ken, I'm out of here and stuff. Mello's the one instigating that. Am I wrong on that? Am I factually incorrect on that? That Mello's the one that really, every time that fucking, you don't see that from Schleppy. You don't see that from, and you were on last night. You don't see that from Schleppy. You don't see that from fucking Abel Solis Jr. You don't see that from Hey Chico. You don't see that from fucking anybody else but Mello. Even Ken, although he'll rib Tommy, he won't go that far. It's Mello that always pushes the limit. Am I factually incorrect in that statement? Yes or no, please?
You are factually correct in this statement. Well, I'd say yes. I mean,
thank you.
I have no. Yes. Again, I'm just trying to take a stance of Ken's shoes. Okay, like he calls him loyal. I'm just trying to understand what Ken likes about him. So there's the loyal.
He's loyal.
Aspect.
That's it. I've talked to Ken about this in the past, and I was totally cognizant of the fact that even if I was to think that I was the main character and be like, no, I'm not going to work with you if you don't fire this guy. Never said that ever. I said like, I don't like, what he does here. And Ken's like, okay, so noted. I'm going to keep going doing what I think. It's like, okay, cool. And he's messaged me. He's like, hey, in the past, Mello's not going to be on the show. So if you want to, jump in, you're more than invited. I'm like, abso-fucking-lutely. But he's recognized that I've actually chosen to not call into his show stuff when Mello is on due to the respect that I have for Ken, not for fucking Mello. Okay? Because I'll be on any show with Mello if he wants to fucking throw down. He's going to be like, oh, you're all anti-Semitic because you keep proving me wrong. But again, I'm not going to do that on Ken's show. Ken, again, does his own thing and doesn't deserve that sort of bullshit. But again, I'm not the one fucking causing the shit that Mello does. Simple fact. And again, what about Friday Night Fire? What about all these great shows that I used to do with Ken? And we ran it. We fucking had some great times and great, content. And Mello was nowhere to be found. Why? Because, again, you don't need Mello. Okay? Ken likes him. He's a loyal guy for him. Okay, great. But as I've always said, like, you could have like a loyal... you could be a crime boss and have a loyal fucking a mook and be like, yeah, boss, we stole the gold and we drove all the way home, even with all the cars, the cop cars behind us with their sirens, but we got all the gold in the house. Problem is now that the house is surrounded by cops. That's the loyalty, that I'm talking about when it comes to Mello. It's just like it's this stupidity. Not thinking of the bullshit that he brings with him because he started that shit. But again, I I'm perfectly fine with Ken doing his show. Here's the thing. I watch Ken's show after the fact. And if Mello's talking bullshit, I just fast forward through it. Simple as that. And it's becoming more and more difficult, to be quite honest, to, enjoy Ken's show, because I love to hear the opinions of Ken and other people. Ken actually speaks, normally about politics. Mello is simply just trying to play defense for the Democrats. Everything that Trump does is apparently bad. Can't back it up. Nothing but no. He's loyal. But it's unfortunate. I love to hear Filthy's opinion. I love to hear Connie Chris. Lucky Lowe. God bless the guy. Haven't heard from that guy in fucking years, but always had great takes and stuff. Love to hear the people that show up on Ken's show. Mello, unfortunately, is the crux of the issue. And as much as people want to shit on me, saying, oh, well, you keep shit on Mello, it's just like, okay, can you explain to me, or at least make me understand how having Mello on the show makes it worse? Because we've got evidence that when he's not there, you've got all these other people, or Ken alone, dude, like 10 on Ken on 10, whatever it's called. Ken solo, huge. Way better than fucking having Mello on. Like, prove me wrong.
Well, I don't know. Has people actually told you, how dare you go after Mello? Like,
yes, multiple times. But you tell me, do you enjoy Mello's contribution to Ken's show? Do you really think that it is, because obviously either it's, totally liberally slanted, Marxist, communist, or he's just playing people and being really annoying and stupidly when the conversation could progress to good things. He's just being contrarian and trying to slow the conversation down when we could be talking about solutions on how to solve all this bullshit that's going on. Which one do you think, Bullseye? Utilizing your dented head, apparently, because of all your haters, be like, oh, he's got a dented head, I'm retarded, but I'm going to criticize Bullseye. But yeah, how do you think? Which one do you think it is? For real.
Okay. Okay. From my understanding of Mello, let me just be honest here. I don't ever see people ever go, Mello has a good point. I never have. From my seeing from Mello, if he ever talks about a serious topic, he kind of just goes to a regular talk about that everybody already knows. Like, for example, it's all about the money. Well, that's irrelevant to what we're actually talking about. That's a basic thing, but why specifically this would happen? It's about the money. Okay, but why are they choosing to do this? What exactly is the point of doing this sort of thing? It's not just money. So, like, all I hear from him is, like, it's all about the money. It doesn't really help the conversation. It's just, like, it doesn't add anything. It's just like, how do you play off of that? So it does somewhat slow down the conversation when he does things like that. In addition to that, when we're trying to talk about something, kind of throws a wrench into it sometimes. Mm-hmm. Like, for instance, he'll fucking show off his train, whatever. And it's just, everybody's just trying to analyze what he's exactly trying to do. And we're all just trying to ask questions and him not really giving an answer. It's just when he's showing off at that point. There's multiple examples where he's just kind of saying stuff. And sometimes he adds a lot, and sometimes he likes to explain stuff, like the AI shit. He's really into the AI stuff. He likes to talk about how AI is able to buy property. I'm not too sure about AI buying out farms still. Like, it's like, why start there? Especially the fact that monopolization has already existed, and even so, AI is being controlled by somebody. But other than that, Mello's usually, I guess Mello does add something when it comes to, like, something he's invested in, like the AI stuff. He likes to talk about the AI stuff. But anything remotely like politics, if you're trying to discuss something like that, you don't really get much from him. I'll say that much. You just don't get much from him. Either because he's not capable of it, or he doesn't want to, or he's just not into it. But likes to just kind of just go back to, it's about the money shit. And it's just, you're just kind of sitting there like, okay, well, it doesn't really add to anything that we're actually discussing. You're making a talking.
So it's disingenuous. So he knows what he's doing and he's still doing it anyway. Is that what you're saying? Like either, again, like I said, it's either he's too retarded to understand what he's doing, or the guy's fucking knows exactly what he's doing and he's doing it on purpose. So again, you think about it this way. How do you judge it? Retarded person interrupts Ken. Do you excuse them? Well, I guess they're retarded. Got to keep them in line. Or disingenuous person that wants to make it about themselves, narcissist, we've got it proven, interjects themselves with Ken, and Ken ends up yelling at the person so that they will fucking get in line. Again, which one do you think it is? Do you think he knows what he's doing? Or he's just a fucking mongoloid NPC piece of shit that just fucking goes along with whatever he's inputted with? I think it's the latter. I think he actually knows what he's doing. I've said this in the past. He knows what he's doing, and he's trying to push limits. He's trying to be like, how far can I push it? How mad can I make Ken before he really gets mad at me? And then I fucking retract, obviously, because, you know, who else is going to have me? Joe Cronin fucking, you know, threw me away. Why? Because my only gimmick was fucking imitating Tommy with Fommy. Great job there, buddy. And what's his big gimmick now is fucking showing different, like, green screen shit behind him. Like, what do you, honestly, what does Mello bring to anything that Ken does? I would say nothing. In fact, the negative. It takes away, reduces the soul. What say you, Bullseye, me first mate on the White Pearl ship? We'll be seeing soon.
Everything, there's obviously a motive to do when he does these things. So, like I said,
You've been very kind, though. But, like, honestly, I've been posing questions that simply ask, who do you think he is? Why do you think he's doing this? And who do you think is benefiting from it? I've explained that, obviously, I believe it's him. But with the understanding that he knows what he's doing. It's not just an idiot savant who's just fucking shit up. It's literally like the focus needs to be on me, and I'm going to say these things and try to bring this attention to me. Is that not what you're seeing? Because that's what I've seen, Bullseye.
I've seen stuff like that from.
Okay, so knowing my idea. How about this? I'm going to shut the fuck up now, possibly roll a joint. But how about you address how you see Mello, and forget about like comparing to what I've said. It's just like, how do you see Mello? How do you justify his actions? How do you think that he rationalizes his actions, which again get called out even by Ken being too much? So how would you break down Mello? Please proceed.
Okay, well, starting from the beginning, he's a goofy guy trying to be goofy on screen. So he does these weird facial expressions and shows things on camera and sometimes photo screens to try to get people to laugh or look at him or even be wondering what he is doing. Certainly likes to talk about AI. Likes to repeat what Ken says, right? So. Doing all this stuff. If there's certainly a motive to what he's doing, he certainly likes to bring attention to what he's doing, and sometimes
narcissism. So you're admitting this is narcissism? You obviously understand the definition, but is this not the ultimate definition? Is that he's making it about himself? Because that's what narcissism is.
I don't know what else to call it at that point.
No, but you can say yes. You can say, Dave Rose, you are actually correct, because all you're doing is referring to actual facts, and it all lines up with what the actions that Mello has conducted. You can say that. It's fine. Like, again, it's not about his feelings. It's really about you just telling it how you see it and not fucking holding back. So if that's the truth, just say that, dude. It's perfectly fine. But it seems to, but then again, when you line it up with narcissism, then a lot more is required for you to examine. Why is he fucking trying to run shit on Ken's show to try to manipulate public opinion? Why is he fucking trying to make it so pro-Israel and not even discuss the actual international crimes that Israel has done to the Palestinians? Like, but it's even more so. It's like he ignores the tunnels in Brooklyn. Like, he's playing defense for, you know, some bad stuff. It's got to be called out. Why does he feel attacked when this is called out unless he's guilty?
Yeah, then come to think of it, if we're being brutally honest about it, I'd go a step further and call it a superiority complex then.
Excellent. You see it exactly as you should, as I do. And many other people who have talked to me said the exact same thing. Again, this is not an attack on Ken. This is basically just observation. And again, it costs nothing for anybody to look at something, look at a situation and be like, okay, how would I judge this? And the way that Mello conducts himself, again, you don't need me fucking telling you the shit. You just have to watch fucking Ken's show and you'll come to the same conclusion as I did, just like fucking Bullseye did.
Well, at that point, I do try to put up with him. I think he genuinely wants to have fun, but
at everyone else's expense, though, because he'll make fun of you and other people. But more importantly, is that he'll keep going back that he's the one that's the fucking star, not Ken, not anybody else. But he has to go back to him. You've noticed this. You've acknowledged this. It's unfortunate. I think it's unnecessary because it's not his show. But it just goes back to the fact that if you want to define this, it is narcissism. It is the emotional response that a narcissist would have. Meanwhile, there's people like me and yourself and other people that are more than willing to just sit on a call on a show like Ken's. Just wait till it's your turn. You get a few words in, get a few laughs, this and that, a nice discussion, and then you just don't say anything. You might even mute yourself, as I've done, and many other people do, and you let the conversation continue to go organically. Unlike Mello, who at every single fucking point needs to interject himself and sort of correct the fucking narrative and storyline. And I know that you fucking have experienced that, Bullseye.
Yeah. Well, before I go, I'm going to say this then. I do, like I said, Mello does, I don't think the problem is Mello trying to have fun. I just think that the issue just relies on people just kind of being irritated by Mello. Well, not just irritation. I think Mello does know what he's doing. It's definitely purposeful. I just think.
To honestly answer me this, then to what benefit? What is the point? What is the purpose? How is he benefiting from being the contrarian to literally ruin shows? When Ken's bringing up great points, he's got to be the contrarian and bring up the opposite. It's like, but dude, this is so important that needs to be discussed. Ken is bringing up some important topics, and when it comes to politics and geopolitical affairs. And Mello always has to put this sort of thing in question when Ken is really bringing up important topics.
All right. So to answer that, one or two answers. One, it's just him being goofy and he doesn't know how to take a conversation seriously.
But you're contradict yourself because you said he knows what he's doing. So he's not trying to be goofy. Clearly, he knows what he's doing. What is the intent? What is the purpose? It's to try to discredit the person who's making the statement.
Okay, so if in that case you're suggesting there's only one answer, he's just trying to deflect the conversation and bring up something else to try to diminish the conversation entirely.
He has his biases when it comes to liberalism, and as such, he will utilize that when trying to deflect the conversation, but his initial response will be, this is a joke, this is funny, I've just fucked up your fucking, you were on a roll there, fucking going on, really hitting on good topics, but I just decided to jump in. We've seen this in the past with Ken. Jumps in, interrupts the flow of things, it brings up a totally different topic, like you even talked about earlier. Totally different topic. And sort of again, the person who's on the roll there, just dropping facts, they're like, hold on, what? Huh? And they get thrown off fucking track. But Mello's done that multiple times to try to dissuade the conversation that's going in a direction that he doesn't like. Criticism of Israel? No, you can't even do that. Like, talk about fucking sex tunnels and fucking human trafficking in Brooklyn by, Sephardic Orthodox Jews? No, you can't talk about that. It's anti-Semitic to talk about it. I mean, that alone, that response, and again, I bring this up because it should have been evident to everyone. That response alone, when that was brought up to Mello on Ken's show, where they're talking about, it's like, well, Mello, what do you think about this stuff? It's like, it's prevalent it's in the fucking mainstream news. His immediate response, typical of the fucking, Khazarians, is, oh, well, that's anti-Semitic. Is it anti-Semitic or is it just noticing a pattern amongst your tribe?
Well, at that point, like I said, I'm going to get going, Dave, but I do agree with everything you just said. Again, I just want to try to take a stance at.
Okay, so how do you best suggest Mello's execution? Should it be drawn and quartered like four horses that pulls him apart? Should it be a guillotine, which just chops off his head and his head's alive for about 4 seconds? Are we going to put him feet first in a wood chipper? Are we going to feed him bacon because he's Jewish? Are we going to feed him bacon until he fucking bursts? Like, what would you think is the best execution for Mello?
The best execution? Well...
Force him to accept Christianity. That would probably be the worst. Because, again, a demon, you put holy water on them, it burns. You put a cross on them, it burns. I think that's, you know what, that would be my choice. But you tell me, how would you choose?
Actually, the Christianity is a good part. But I wouldn't make him say, I love Jesus, just to see that.
Christ is king. He's got to say Christ is king. When he does so, his tongue's going to burn out, and he's going to reveal himself the true demon as he is. I can see it happening. We need to make a movie. Mel Gibson, if you're listening, we need to make a movie about the demon that is Mello Yellow.
There we go.
I think I'm riled up to actually do a drama diner. There's been things that have been said, and I think they need to be addressed, and it's still not dinner time for me here. It's only 5:43. I do plan to make myself a delicious steak dinner. I think I deserve it, despite the fact that steak right now is about, for a good steak, a strip loin, as I always only make strip loin, about $12, a nice fucking good steak. So it's fucking pricey, but I deserve it. And as we know, I can go for hours on end. So let's end this gaming stream and perhaps open up the diner. What do you say about that? You going to tune in?
Yeah, hell yeah, dude. Why not? I'll be there. Anyway, I gotta go, Dave. But it was nice talking to you again.
All right. Shout out to the man with the best abs in the community. The one and only, it's Bullseye. So, I sort of did a preview there and put up the diner. But, again, I worked myself up with my space planes. And, going to the danger zone. But, it's still not dinner time. And it's very important that you adhere, at least for me, to a proper schedule when it comes to eating. You don't eat between meals unless it's, well, if you accommodate for snacks. Okay, we're getting a little technical here. But I don't want to ruin my appetite. Because I don't want to wake up at 2 in the fucking morning and be like, yeah, you know what, I could certainly go with, I don't know, 3 servings of pasta and fucking, 8 sausages or something. I don't know. But for the 14 people viewing, might as well. Okay, might as well. The drama diner shall be opening. And why not? So, hold on. Can I call in, says Latino Heat. Yeah, of course you can call in. It's fucking, hold on. Skype's open. But, you know what? There's enough, actually, that was presented to me that could easily go into a drama diner. if perchance I was to get enough money via donation, perhaps I'd even allow somebody that I've blocked for a long time to be on my show. Because they always say, oh, well, Dave, why don't you have this person on your show? Because, I like to have a discussion, not be yelled over, and have a proper exchange. But it is possible. It is possible. You never know. You never know who might be popping up on the show, But it's going to take money. A whole lot of money. You guys remember that song, right? Morrison, whatever. Yeah. I guess Latino Heat isn't calling in. Don't know what's going on. But we're going to be starting a drama diner. So how about that? So all you sexy people right there, you're going to have to do a refresh for the next few minutes on your YouTube because I'm going to set up for a drama diner. How about that? People are hungry. As they said, Spartan King. As always, no donations, but hey, please, please, I want us a drama. Give me some drama. But that's just gonna have to be the way it is. And nobody does it better than Dave Rose. Okay, this is not something I asked for, but it is Sunday afternoon. I'm building up an appetite, and you just don't. I was just trying to hibernate. It's wintertime. The bear doesn't want to deal with it. You poke the bear, there is the problem. And it's out there for people to judge on their own. And you can hate me all you want, but you can also see other things. I guess that's where we're going. So, on that note, stay tuned. I will be